From clutch goals to game-saving stops, the Dallas Stars have one of the deepest rosters in the NHL. Today, I'm going to rank the best of the best. You may agree, you might not.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Welcome back to another week of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. How would you rank in order the best Dallas Stars on the current roster? I want to know in the comments below. I'm going to share with you my rankings heading in to the 2025-26 season. Also, how confident are you in Jim Nill and the front office of the Dallas Stars? The Athletic put out a rankings list of all 32 teams. I'll tell you where the Stars fell on that official ranking. And Roope Hintz is feeling good and prepared for the training camp ahead. I'll tell you more about that a bit later on. But let's dive right into my official ranking of the Dallas Stars on the 2025-26 roster. And this idea came to me because our network here at Locked On is going to put together a top 100 players list in the NHL. And they asked all the hosts around the league to give them their best 4 or 6 players on their current roster, depending on how deep the roster is. And I went ahead and put 6 names in order. I didn't think about it too much. I just wanted to go with my gut feeling. And I'm going to share that with you today. And I would love to see where some of us are similar and where we differ on these rankings. So I did 1 through 6 in the comments below. Drop it right now. Your official 1 through 6 rankings, the best Dallas Stars on the roster. It can be whatever classification, whatever grade you want to give each player, but put them in order. And I'm going to tell you mine and how I sort of justified my reasoning, or at least in the moment, how I went about it. The Stars have a lot of great players. Now, my first dilemma came with the number 1 and 2 spot, and it came between Mikko Rantanen, of course, our newest shiny Dallas Star that was acquired at the deadline. He's about to play his first full season in Victory Green, and of course, Miro Heiskanen. I opted to put Mikko Rantanen at number 1 based off what we saw in the postseason. That ability to just take over games. And Miro Heiskanen, for a long time, I've said it so many times on this podcast, is the best player on the Dallas Stars. But I think right now it's safe to say, maybe by a smidge, that his fellow Finn, Mikko Rantanen, is ahead of him. He, I think, is going to have an incredible season and is a superstar in the National Hockey League. He's going to prove it this year. So I gave Mikko Rantanen the edge, and I put him at number 1. Miro comes in at number 2, the Stars' best overall defenseman. I think it's safe to say his value was not overstated last year when you look at the numbers pre-Heiskanen's injury and you look at post-Heiskanen's injury and how the defense and really the season for the Stars started to sort of unravel in the final 2 months of the season. They were able to get through a round and about a half, was it, until Miro was able to come back. And Miro looked pretty good in the spring as well, which is a good sign coming off a major knee surgery. But I got Mikko Rantanen, Miro Heiskanen, my number 1 and 2 picks. Now, this is another dilemma I had in the 3 and 4 spots. And you could probably flip-flop these. I think I would be okay with that. I went ahead and I put Jake Oettinger at number 3. I thought He had a really, really solid season, one of the more consistent years this past year, and was once again incredible in the first 2 rounds. Was really, really good for Dallas, and a big reason why the Stars were able to get to the Western Conference Final. He was able to outduel Connor Hellebuck, the best goaltender in the world over the past 2 years, and Otter was once again huge for Dallas in some of the most critical moments of the season in terms of the playoffs. And I just think he's about top 8 at his position in among goaltenders, respectively. And I think you could say the same for Rantanen, Heiskanen, Oettinger. They're somewhere within that top 8. Mikko and Miro are probably top 5. I think Otter, he's hovering anywhere from 5 to 10, however you want to look at it, or whatever rankings you want to buy stock in. So I put Oettinger at number 3. I put Robertson behind him. If Robo had a better year, and 80 points is not bad, I think I would have maybe flip-flopped him with Jake Oettinger, because we know what a special goal scorer he can be. So I had Robertson at number 4. And again, it was sort of a down year. That seems to be his floor in a lot of ways, 80 points. And he came in to training camp injured. He missed some time. We all know that. It's well documented. I think Robo at his best, he's probably 3rd behind Miro and Mikko at this point in the season. I put Harley at 5. I could see an argument, and I wouldn't be shocked if I'm reading the comments here later today and seeing Harley maybe 4th or even 3rd based off what we saw. Just a giant leap. He's really just right behind, it feels like. Maybe not just behind, but he is maybe just a tier below Miro Heiskanen, who's just an all-around stud. Harley, offensively, a big season. He's grown immensely as a defender and has really put himself into the conversation now, where the Stars may have to choose between him or Robertson, depending on the cap situation and depending on how the Stars want to allocate their resources, aka their money, since Robo is going to need a new deal after next season, and so will Thomas Harley. Those 2 players are going to almost go head-to-head, it feels like, this season, and show their worth, and the Stars may have to choose between one or the other. But I have Harley at 5. I feel like you could throw him in the top 4 if you wanted, maybe behind Miro in front of Oettinger. If you're not a huge Otter fan, which I know there are plenty of Stars fans out there that are not in love, or at least do not love Otter as much as maybe I do. I put Roope Hintz behind Harley. I sort of called Roope out last week on one of our episodes of Locked On Stars. It's time for him to drive Dallas as that number 1 center. It's time for him to play at an elite level, and that comes with playing the physical side. That comes with being productive. He is 28. He's still in the prime of his career. I was almost shocked to realize he's just 28. He's still young in the grand scheme of things. And this is a big, big season for Roope, in my opinion. It's time for him to have a really strong year and solidify himself as one of the upper echelon of centers in the NHL, because the Stars need him to be, and I think he's talented enough to be that. So I put Roope at number 6. I guess I did the top 7. The Stars roster is pretty good, because I felt like I had to throw this player in here. Maybe that's why I went 7 instead of 6, because I threw him in there just based off what we saw last year. And again, I know the playoffs left a bitter taste in our mouths over the last 2 seasons. Trust me, I've had my issues with it, but I put Matt Duchene in there. I think you have to after an 80. I mean, he was a point per game. He led the Stars in points. I think it's fair that he joins this conversation as well. So I put Duchene at number 7. So Mikko, Miro, Oettinger, Robertson, Harley, Roope, Duchene. Those are my rankings heading in to the 2025-26 season. I'm really curious to see where yours are. I didn't put a ton of thought into it. Obviously, I thought about it a bit, but I tried to just go with my gut feeling. And that is my gut feeling. And you could talk me into flip-flopping a few of those spots. So I would love to hear your official rankings of the best Dallas Stars on their current roster. Look forward to reading some of those. And I look forward to seeing our NHL Top 100 list, the Locked On Podcast Network. Every NHL channel is going to be voting on this, and we're going to do some episodes on it as well here on the Locked On Stars podcast. So look forward to that, and look for that on Twitter. You can follow us at Locked On Stars on X and all that good stuff as well. Now, to another list. How confident are you in Jim Nill in the Dallas Stars? How confident is the Stars fan base versus the public? Does it differ there? I'll tell you more in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Gametime. College football is back, and honestly, there's nothing better than the energy of tailgates and being in the stands with your fellow fans. The only downside, trying to get tickets, endless queues, hidden fees, and the prices that jump at you at the checkout. That's why you have to use Gametime. I use Gametime, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprises. What you see is what you pay. You can go to your favorite college football games, see your favorite college football teams for as low as $25. The app is super simple. You can see the exact view from your seat before you buy. They have zone deals. You can pick the section. Gametime will pick the seats. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, promo code LOCKEDONNHL, LOCKED, ONNHL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. By the way, Locked On Stars listeners, we have an important request. Locked On wants to hear from you. We put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and to make your favorite podcast even better, just like this one. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about it. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. And the best thing about this, of course, it's voluntary, but everyone who completes the survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link in the show notes, and we appreciate you helping us out here on the Locked On Podcast Network. The Athletic put out NHL front office confidence rankings, and they've done this for a few years now. And I went ahead and did this survey as well. You could do a survey as a fan, and you could do a survey as just the public. So you could go through all 32 teams if you wanted and rank each front office on different things like roster building, cap management, draft and develop, trading, free agents, all that good stuff. And they gave each team a letter grade, and they ranked them among the 32 teams. So without further ado, the Dallas Stars came in at number 2, just behind the Florida Panthers. Yes, the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, and the Stars are right there, but still yet without a Stanley Cup to go with it over the last 5 years. But there's a lot of great stuff in here. There are some quotes I want to share with you. It says, Nill is an elite GM. He has set the team up for short and long-term success via a multitude of trades, free agency signings, and draft selections. However, arguably, his best trait is how he treats the players and staff. His tenure since 2013 has turned Dallas from a free agency laughingstock to a top destination among players. It says the Stars do a lot of things exceptionally well, but as usual, it's the team's drafting ability that really sets it apart, with the public and fans both ranking Dallas first in the league. Dallas's ability to seamlessly transition from one era, the Sagan, Ben Klingberg era, to the next with Robo, Hintz, Heiskanen, Oettinger, to the next with Johnston and Harley is the blueprint for all teams should aspire towards, and the draft has been a massive part of that. No team does it better. So the public, if you look at how the public would vote on the confidence in the Dallas Stars front office, it is much better than the fan base, which I would expect. And I think that's fair. I think the fan base is more accurate than maybe what the public and what the public rated the Stars on, because there are some spots in like free agency. Fan base, a B+, which was 9th among teams. Free agency on the public side was an A-. I would lean towards the fan base on this. I think maybe as just a fan of the NHL, and when they watch the Stars come to town, like, man, this is a good team. They've been a good team over the last few years. Maybe there's some sense like they must do well in free agency. But I think as a fan base, when you look over the last couple of years, you're like, they haven't been that great. Some of the moves have frankly been some of the worst of the Jim Nill era. If you look back to Lyubushkin and Dumba. So the Stars from the fan base get a B+ on free agency. The cap management, Stars got a B+ from the fan base, A- from the public. That one's a tough one. I think you have to give the Stars a lot of credit for what they did to go out and get Mikko Rantanen. I think that alone should maybe bump them up into the A. Although they were able to manipulate the cap, so ever you feel about that situation, maybe you feel they did not deserve an A in that. But there hasn't been a ton of change in confidence. 12%, a change from the fan base confidence. It was less than, so 12% less from last year, and the public 12% less from last year as well. So not a huge change there. And the Stars get an overall of A. 4.3 was their ranking out of 5, which is fantastic, of course, and a reason they're within the top 5. But as I said, you have Florida, ahead of them, Carolina, Tampa Bay, and then you have Montreal actually at number 5. So those are your top 5 teams. Some more quotes here. It says, Jim Nill has shown an amazing ability to make great trades, sign high-end players to affordable contracts, and build rosters to make us a cup contender every year. It says the only current dynasty in the sport belongs to Jim Nill, the back-to-back winner of the Jim Gregory GM of the Year award. Clearly, it's well-deserved as both the public and fans hold Dallas's front office in incredibly high standing, ranking the Stars as the league's second-best front office for the second straight season. Says here, with some of the team's defensive depth signing, it's hard to deny Dallas's front office excellence. The Mikko Rantanen trade was a master stroke, especially given the rivalry aspect with Colorado. And it sure seems like almost every core contract the team signs turns into excellent value. The latest one for Wyatt Johnston looks especially strong. So there's some more blurbs you can read about on the Athletic as well. And for those of you watching on YouTube, should have stated this a bit earlier, but I have the official report card for those of you watching, and you can give a look. I'll give you the fan base rankings in all the different aspects. So roster building, the Stars fan base, A-, cap management, B+, draft and development, an A, trading, A-, free agency, B+, vision, B+, a total of an A-. The public, on the other hand, all A's. The Stars got all A's from the public. A in roster building, A- in cap management, draft and development, A+, A in trading, A- in free agency, vision A, and total A. I think it really is interesting to see where maybe the fan base differs from the public. And I think you can make the case where the fan base is more correct on some of these aspects, and the public is more correct on others. Just as a fan base, I know I got caught up in this a lot, and I'm sure many of you do, especially throughout a season. Sometimes the amount of complaining that I do on here, and you look at 30 other teams would love to have what the Dallas Stars have been doing the last couple of years. So maybe some of us fans have a more pessimistic view of other situations where the public, it's better that they're not watching the Stars every day. Like me and you, sometimes we watch so closely, we forget some of the great things that the Stars do. I think that's just the nature of watching the Stars. Or sometimes you get into February and March, and it's just like all I can think about are the negatives of Dallas. and sometimes it's good to try to step away, maybe get feedback from another fan, because they come in with, I would say, less biased view, and they can open your eyes to something like, yeah, maybe they are right. Stars are doing this better than I'm giving them credit for. And I find that intriguing. I think it's just human nature in all of us. Sometimes we just watch same team so much. It's like all we can look at are the negatives instead of highlighting some of the great things that the Stars have done. And I'm certainly in that category. Just go back to some of those March episodes over the spring going in to the Stanley Cup playoffs. I was over it, Stars fans. I really was. And then they flipped the switch for the better. But there you go. Dallas Stars in high regard among the fan base and, of course, the public as well in terms of confidence in the Stars management up top, the top of the top. Let's talk about Roope Hintz. There was an article on NHL.com that came out about Roope Hintz and how he's going to be fully healthy, which is a great sign going in to training camp in just a few weeks' time. I'll tell you more about that in just a moment. The article on NHL.com is headline Hintz feeling good ahead of Stars camp after breaking foot in playoffs. The center did not need surgery, fully healthy entering the season. This was written by Tracy Myers, an NHL.com staff writer. It says here, Roope Hintz says he's back to 100% after sustaining a broken foot late in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and the Dallas Stars center will be ready for training camp when it begins next month. The quote here from Hintz himself, "I'm feeling good. My foot is fine, and I've been able to train normally this summer." Hintz said at the NHL/NHL Players Association European Player Media Tour on Friday, so everything is good. I told you about that story last week to kick you into the weekend that Hintz and Miro Heiskanen, along with some other Finns, had played in an adult league beer league game back in Finland. Not that you want to read into much of that, but it did say both of them looked good skating and all that good news. It goes into the article, dives into how he was slashed by Darnell Nurse. Says the biggest problem with Roope's injury was we couldn't get it to stop bleeding, says Stars general manager Jim Nill on June 6th. They had to take out vials of blood for about 2 straight days. That's why he missed the one game where it broke the bone. It just kept bleeding. I don't know if I had ever seen that quote until reading that now. I don't know if maybe I was under a rock. I don't know if we ever got a full explanation on the injury or what officially happened. I apologize if I'm off my rocker on that, but that is fascinating to read that. So it's saying they were having to take vials of blood out of his foot for 2 days straight. That's why he missed the game. So obviously it broke, but they couldn't get to stop bleeding, which obviously sounds very, very painful. And I can't imagine what they had to do to even get his foot in his boot, how they had to get it in the skate for him to play. I think he played in the game 5, but still. Hintz returned for the final 2 games of the series. Yeah, he played in 4 and 5 when the Stars, of course, were eliminated. So that just and then it got hit again. I can't remember if that was game 5 or it's game 4. That sounds horrific. And it goes in, just said that he did not need surgery. He just needs some rest, which is great. He, of course, hopes to make Finland's roster for the Olympic Winter Games. 3 of his teammates, Rantanen, Miro Heiskanen, Nessa Lindell. I may have forgot about Lindell on some of my Olympic conversations. I feel awful if I did. Maybe I didn't. But they were among the first 6 named, of course, in the Four Nations face-off. It says, of course, it would be a dream come true. Hintz said, when you're a young kid, you dream about that. And you're like, I want to wear that jersey at some point in my life. With the guys you have right now, I know every Finnish guy who's probably going to be on that team. It really would be so nice to be in there and play for Finland, of course. And the Stars will open up their regular season against the Winnipeg Jets on October 9th. So all good news on the Roope Hintz front. And yeah, I'm calling him out this year. I need Roope to have a big year. Not that he's been bad, but I think Hintz is going to be somebody. I'm going to be on his case a bit, just because Wyatt Johnston last season, maybe a case of some teams starting to figure him out a bit. Could be some potential growing pains again. although I still have a lot of confidence in Wyatt, but Roope needs to be that guy. Needs to become, or at least return to that guy we've come to grow and love. He can be an elite two-way forward. We looked at his defensive metrics last season. They dropped a bit. Can he get back to that level? He's going to have an opportunity, it seems like, potentially to play with Rantanen. That should help. Maybe even Robo. He could play with Johnston and Rantanen. Who knows? He's going to be playing with great teammates. So it's time for him to drive the bus. Time for him to be that guy. If he wants to be in that conversation, or at least how we look at him. And good news is no surgery. Going to be fully healthy going into camp. And he'll be ready to rock and roll, which is going to be great. I think also you can't underestimate how important I don't think you can underestimate how important Team Finland, just the Olympics, is going to be. I think you're going to see a lot of players have some big seasons that maybe be on the bubble trying to make some of these rosters. I think Roope, Esa, Miro, and Rantanen are all safe. I think those guys are certainly going to be on the team, but they still want to show out and fight hard to make that roster. And I think that's going to help. And hopefully that helps the Stars as well as they try to battle for that. So it's going to be a lot of fun to keep an eye on, but I wanted to share some of the good news there. Again, I don't know if I saw that before, that they had to take vials of blood. I don't remember them really ever saying much outside of he didn't need surgery at the end of the year, but that was an interesting little note about how they were having to do some magic. I could just imagine how painful it was trying to just stay on his feet, and I imagine his foot was like a giant, probably almost twice the size, close to at least, trying to fit that in his skate. So credit to him for toughing it out and trying to play the final two games of that Western Conference final. But that's going to do it for this Monday edition of Locked On Stars. Good one today, if I might say so myself. Again, let me know your ranking in order, the best Dallas Stars. Would love to hear. Go 1 through 7 in order. Maybe just give your gut feeling and compare it to mine. We'll look forward to reading some of those here over the next few hours. But be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, never miss an episode of Locked On Stars. Do that survey, Locked On Podcast Network. You go to do the survey, enter a chance to win a $100 Amazon gift card as well. Appreciate all the love and support as always, Stars fans. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow. So